Hi, this is Trish from Everyday Stitches, and we're here on week 4 of the Newport Sails quilt along, where we will put our blocks together. So just take your blocks after they're laid out, and make sure you got the down wave followed by an up wave, and put them right sides together. Now at this point, I'm sure you will be tempted to pin, but honestly, I have better luck not even pinning. So even if you're a pinner, maybe try without pinning first and see how it goes. But if you really, really need to pin, I come in 1/4 inch and pin on that seam and lift it up. And then I'll come 1/4 inch in on this seam. And then I'll match the sides and make sure this pin is perpendicular to the fabric. Hold my fabric and then just pin. And then I'll do the same down here and then stitch it. But honestly, try it without pinning first. You'll be surprised at the magic that happens. So here are 2 blocks together. We did this without pinning, and see how it just perfectly comes together. And again, if you want your boat to not be so far in the water, instead of making this 14 inches, you could make it 14.5 and it'll pop up a little further. And so just go on, put all of your rows together, or form all of your rows, and then putting your rows row to row is super easy. There's absolutely no matching at all. And that's it. Can't wait to see everybody's quilts on Instagram. So let's talk about quilting and binding. So to quilt this, I just made this simple feathery kind of a thing. This is my go-to feather because I don't feel like I'm very good at feathers. So I just make this little inside piece, which helps me figure out this outside piece. I just that down the sails. And then on the little sails, I just did straight lines. And then down the mast, I just did this little kind of a feather and this little herringbone on the boats. And then for the fill in the sky, I just did a curvy kind of thing just to give it some movement. And then for the waves, I have a swirl just to try to give it the idea of waves in the water. Now for binding on this one, I also stitched in the ditch to separate those. Okay, so for the binding on this quilt, you'll notice that the top of the quilt has the sky for the binding, and along the bottom, we have the water. And you can do it however you want, but this is how I accomplished this. I had my dark blue binding by itself and my light blue binding by itself. I attached the dark blue first. I have a long tail, and I leave it loose. I just start down here attaching it. So I come down here, go around my corner, and then just sew like an inch, and then leave a tail. Then I'll start with my light blue binding. I'll leave a long tail, start probably here, and do the same thing all the way around. So I have a pair of tails on this side, pair of tails on the other side. Then I'll come back and lay them out flat, mark where the center is going to be, and then I can just do a straight line to attach those two, and then trim it, press it, and stitch it down, and then finish binding as you normally would. And we'll talk about more quilting ideas on the Instagram Live on Thursday at 3 o'clock. See you then.